It's a regular day, and Denzel Washington is out in public, moving through a busy crowd. People around him go about their day, some focused on their tasks, while others are just enjoying a casual stroll. The place is buzzing with energy, but in the midst of it, there's one fan who stands out. He's younger, excited to see Denzel, and a little too eager to get attention. This fan, though, decides to take things a step further. Instead of quietly admiring the actor, he starts making jokes about Denzel, mocking his roles, his voice, and his public persona. At first, it seems harmless. The fan's laughter fills the air, but it's clear that his comments are meant to poke fun, crossing the line from admiration into disrespect. Around them, others start to notice, some laughing nervously, unsure how to react. The atmosphere shifts, becoming more tense. A few people glance over, wondering how Denzel, known for his grace and composure, will respond. It's a situation that could easily escalate. But Denzel remains quiet, watching the fan, assessing the moment. Everyone around waits in anticipation, sensing that something is about to happen. The fan, noticing that Denzel is just standing there, decides to keep going. His words get louder now, meant to get a reaction from the people nearby. He begins to imitate Denzel's iconic voice, exaggerating it in a way that's more mocking than flattering. "Hey Denzel, got any more heroic speeches for us? Maybe another training day moment, huh?" The fan laughs loudly, clearly enjoying the attention. Some people chuckle, but there's a nervous edge to their laughter, as if they're not sure if they should laugh at all. He doesn't stop there. The fan starts mimicking Denzel's famous walk, his posture, even his facial expressions. The crowd around them starts shifting uneasily. Some people turn their heads, exchanging uncomfortable glances. It's clear that this is not just playful fun anymore. The mocking tone is harder to ignore. A few people in the crowd start to whisper, sensing the tension in the air. Some look at Denzel, waiting to see how he will handle this. Would he ignore it? Or would he confront it? The fan continues, more animated now, clearly wanting to show off for the crowd. "Come on, man, you're like the king of cool, aren't you? What's the secret? Just act serious and throw in a few one-liners?" The fan's voice is loud enough now that it catches the attention of others walking by. Some stop to watch, curious about how this all might unfold. They start whispering among themselves, sensing that Denzel might finally say something. But he stays silent, his face unreadable, taking in the moment. The fan waits, expecting a response, but still, Denzel doesn't react. Denzel stands there for a moment, his gaze steady. His expression is calm, almost as if he's weighing his options. The fan's words hang in the air, the mockery still fresh, but Denzel doesn't rush to react. He's seen his fair share of moments like this before, both in public and in his career, and he knows that how he responds now could change everything. His silence speaks volumes, and the crowd feels it. People begin to shift uncomfortably, unsure of what will happen next. Denzel's composure, his ability to stay collected, only adds to the tension in the air. It's almost like he's trying to understand the fans' intentions, wondering if this is a moment of genuine humor or just disrespect. But there's something about the fans' tone that catches Denzel's attention. It's not just a joke. It feels like a challenge to his authority, to his dignity, and to his legacy. Denzel doesn't flinch, though. His calm demeanor never wavers. He's not rattled. Instead, he stands taller, his posture shifting ever so slightly, as if bracing for something. The fan, sensing that Denzel might ignore him, grows a little bolder. He repeats his mocking remarks, perhaps thinking that his humor will push the actor into a response. But Denzel still doesn't move, doesn't say a word. His eyes meet the fan's for a brief second, and it's in that moment the fan realizes that this isn't a situation where loud words will work. Denzel's silence speaks with the power of 1,000 unspoken words. The crowd grows quieter, the energy in the space shifting from playful to serious. Denzel's presence is magnetic, and even though he hasn't spoken yet, his body language tells everyone that he's in control of the situation. The fan might have been expecting to get a rise out of him, but instead, he's left waiting for something else, something far more powerful than mockery. Finally, after a few more moments of silence, Denzel steps forward. His movements are slow, deliberate, giving the impression that he's not reacting out of anger, but out of a deep sense of understanding. The crowd, which had been unsure of how this would play out, now watches intently, hanging on to every second. The fan, still feeling a little too confident, opens his mouth again. "Come on, man, you know I'm just messing with you. Don't take it so seriously." His voice is louder now, trying to force a laugh, hoping to brush off the tension. But Denzel doesn't seem moved by the fan's attempt at deflection. Instead, he looks the fan in the eye with a steady, unflinching gaze. "Listen," Denzel begins, his voice calm and controlled but firm. "I get that you think you're funny, but there's a difference between humor and disrespect." His words cut through the air, clear and direct, but there's no sign of rage. The power in his voice doesn't come from volume, it comes from the quiet strength behind every word. The fan's smile fades. For the first time, he starts to realize the gravity of what he's done. The crowd, sensing the shift, goes completely still. There's no more nervous laughter, no more whispers. Everyone's eyes are locked on Denzel, captivated by his response. "You can joke about a lot of things in life," Denzel continues, his voice still calm, but now tinged with a wisdom that only years of experience could bring. "But what you don't understand is that there's a line between making fun and taking something too far." He pauses, letting his words sink in. "I've worked hard for everything I have, and I'm proud of it, but more importantly, I respect myself. And if you can't respect me, at least respect that." The fan opens his mouth as if to respond, but no words come out. The realization hits him hard, he's crossed a line, and Denzel isn't going to let it slide. There's no anger in Denzel's tone, but there's a clear authority, a sense of dignity that commands respect without having to raise his voice. Denzel stands there for a moment, watching the fan, his gaze unwavering. The fan is quiet now, caught in the weight of the moment. Around them, the crowd feels the shift. People are stunned. They had expected a fight or a sharp comeback, but what they got instead was something far more powerful: grace and strength in the face of disrespect. Denzel's words are simple, but the impact is profound. It's not about making the fan feel small, but about teaching him something in that brief exchange. The fan looks down for a moment, visibly embarrassed, realizing that the joke was never funny. The crowd, too, feels the tension ease as the air grows heavy with reflection. Denzel turns slightly, as if to walk away, but then looks back at the fan. "I'm not mad at you," he says, his tone softening just a touch. "But I hope you learned something today." He gives the fan a brief nod before turning and walking away, leaving the crowd in stunned silence. As Denzel walks away, the air around the crowd feels heavy, like the weight of his words is still hanging in the space. People don't speak immediately. There's a quiet that falls over the entire group, a silence that stretches on longer than expected. Even the fan, who had been so bold just moments ago, stands frozen, unsure of what just happened. The crowd starts to shift, some people exchanging glances, while others stay completely still, processing the scene they just witnessed. It's not the typical confrontation they'd expected. There was no shouting, no raised fists, no dramatic outburst. Instead, what they witnessed was something different, a moment of clarity and control, a display of power through composure rather than aggression. A few people start to murmur among themselves. "Did you hear what he said?" one person whispers. Another replies, "I don't think the fan knew what hit him." The crowd is in awe, not just of Denzel's response, but of the way he handled the entire situation with such dignity. The fan, who had been laughing earlier, now stands in complete silence. His face is flushed with embarrassment, his confidence from before entirely gone. He looks around, searching for some way to save face, but it's clear that the moment has passed. The respect Denzel commanded has left the fan in a state of reflection. For the first time, he might truly understand what it means to cross a line. There's no anger or hostility in the air, just a powerful lesson in respect. The people who witness this moment won't forget it anytime soon. Some may even carry that lesson with them, thinking twice before mocking others in the future. The crowd, in its quiet, almost reverent state, seems to understand the importance of what just happened. A moment of grace in the face of disrespect. A reminder that dignity is something that cannot be easily shaken. As Denzel walks further away, people begin to go back to their own lives, but the energy has shifted. The lesson he delivered without raising his voice has left everyone reflecting on the importance of respect and self-awareness. There's no need for loud reactions when the truth is this powerful. As Denzel continues on his way, the scene fades into a quiet hum, and the crowd gradually disperses. But the moment lingers in the minds of those who witnessed it. Some are still trying to process what happened, their thoughts racing. What they saw wasn't just a celebrity shutting down a fan. It was a moment of real human interaction, where dignity and respect took center stage. For Denzel, there's no rush to explain himself, no need to justify his actions. In his mind, he knows exactly what he did. He simply stood firm in his values, showing that no matter how loud or how brash someone gets, there's always room for a moment of grace. The truth is, he wasn't trying to teach the fan a lesson, as much as he was reminding himself of his worth and the importance of staying grounded in those values. What Denzel did was show restraint, showing that you don't have to engage with disrespect to maintain control. The world constantly throws challenges, and people, especially public figures, often have to deal with mockery or criticism. But the way Denzel handled it was a reminder that it's not about sinking to a level of confrontation. It's about knowing your worth and standing by it. He didn't need to shout or get angry. His calm response was all the power he needed. The fan, still standing in the same spot, has had time to reflect. The embarrassment is still fresh, but so is the realization. He had crossed a line, one that Denzel made very clear, and now he has to sit with that moment. He'll remember it for a long time. How his words were met not with anger, but with wisdom. For him, this will likely be a defining moment of growth. Maybe next time he encounters someone he admires, he'll approach it differently, with respect. Those who saw it unfold will carry a piece of this lesson with them too. They'll think twice before laughing at someone, making jokes at another's expense, or mocking someone for the sake of humor. Denzel's actions weren't about getting revenge, nor were they about proving a point. They were about setting an example of how to handle moments like this with dignity. And in a world that often celebrates loudness and confrontation, his response was a refreshing reminder that sometimes silence, grace, and respect can be the loudest message of all. For Denzel, the day continues. The moment fades, but it's not forgotten. He doesn't need to carry the weight of that incident with him. It was simply a moment, a brief exchange. But for others, it's something that will stay with them for a long time. Because sometimes the most powerful moments aren't the ones filled with words. They're the ones that show strength, not through noise, but through silence.